Today's media guide opening is one that I've had for a while. I won it a couple years ago, but I never took it out because of the age of the program. This is the oldest one that I currently have, at least that I can remember. This is the 1950 Rose Bowl between California and Ohio State. 50 cents for this. And I'm going to open this. There may be a little more bobbling than usual because I don't know what kind of condition this is in, and considering we're dealing with a 70-year-old item, I want to be as careful as I possibly can. As you can see, there's a little bit of rusting around the staple, so we're going to try to be as gentle as we can. This, as we look at the pencil of tomorrow, Norma writes black, red, blue, and green. Sounds like a fabulous. Yeah, I mean, I would bet if I wanted to lift this up, I probably could lift that right off. It just looks, it's old and it's rusty. Fortunately, it doesn't smell as bad as I thought. These older things can get so musty. Goal to go for Buick. Love with those old 1950s cars. There's Ohio State with their then head coach, Wes Fessler, not Woody Hayes. The Grumman Mallard, airplane of the time. And some of Ohio State's players here. Now, right there, I caught a little bit of a whiff of. See, I believe this has separated from the staple just a little bit. Not the whole magazine, but there is a little bit of separation. We're not going to mess with it because I don't want it to get worse. Ohio State, and there's what the Ohio Stadium looked like at the time. Similar, but there is differences. The Buckeye roster, and right there you catch a little more of a, not a musty, it's like an old paper smell. It's really, it could be far worse. It's just that the paper, it's just the way it is. The paper, they didn't think about stuff like that back then. Smoked Chesterfield with both teams lineups. There's Arthur Godfrey of a popular television show, Perry Como. Those of you SCTV fans like myself will remember the Perry Como parody, I'm Still Alive, with Eugene Levy. And then there's Bing Crosby right in the middle. All with prominent cigarettes hanging out of their mouth. Okay, now you see, now that one right there, that must have already been out. Because if you look real carefully, you can see that must have already had came out of the staple. And there's the Cal Golden Bears, the Gillette Super Speed Razor. We're going to go through this very quickly because I can see that this is beginning to deteriorate, and I don't want to take any chances. I do have to stop here. The Dumont television. The Dumont brand actually had their own network in the 50s before it went out of business. And there's a little bit of a tear there. And down at the bottom it says, your Dumont dealer invites you to see the Maury Amsterdam show on the Dumont television network. 203 square inches of the sharpest, steadiest picture you've ever seen. The 19-inch Dumont picture tube. And then there's gas, and then there's I have no idea who that is or if it's someone famous or not. So as you can tell, it's actually in pretty good shape to look at. The problem is the staple the staple was rusty, so therefore it's kind of taking its toll on the paper. Yeah, this probably will be the only time that I ever take this out, but at least now I know what kind of condition it's in the event that I ever trade, sell, move it. So, I anticipated this being a possible problem, as you see my iPad's charger. So I brought two standby programs tonight. We have a WWF program with the Honky Tonk Man and manager Jimmy Hart. I think we talked about the Superstars game the last time we did one of these. The one-man gang ready for a rampage. And then there's Zittles from Oxy, which has been a long-time WWF sponsor of the day. The Honky Tonk Man takes the belt as Jimmy Hart gloats at Steamboat's agony. Okay. And Brutus the Barber, he has a new style. You can have it all. Oh, it's the WWF Summer 87 catalog. I love these. I absolutely love these. Because you get such dated stuff. As this young lady and guy with their matching WWE polo and short shorts. Knockoff starter jacket. The I Love WWF Wrestling tote bag. Some more of those awful trucker hats. Get you have to have your WWE pen and pencil set. That's always a must. Complete with guy coming out of the shower with your towel. I think a lot of these are the same ones we looked at another time, although there is a few new ones here. I see Tito Santana with the Arriba, the Magnificent Morocco, which is a different one than the one that I spoke about once. The Rebel Dick Slater, that one didn't last too long as a wrestler in the WWF. The Machines, the British Bulldogs were there last time. Billy, I think the Killer Bees, I think most of these are last time. And then get your Hulk-sized workout clothes, absolutely a must. Must miss. There's some posters. And of course the LJN rubber wrestling figures. I actually had a few of these and still do in my attic. I think Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff, I think Junkyard Dog, maybe Greg Valentine, I think King Kong Bundy, who actually was more of a weapon than anything. You could throw King Kong Bundy and it's like throwing a brick.
Michael Rabeck said.
Email. My apologies. Jake the Snake Roberts trying to encourage you to buy the WWF magazine. Killer Khan, the Giant Mongolian is after Hulk. And the latest Coliseum video releases. Jake Roberts, WWF's most unusual matches, and a best of. There's more of those dastardly Islanders who are now hooked up with Bobby Heenan. Race for the belts. The champion at the time was Hulk Hogan. Fabulous Moolah held the women's title. The Honky Tonk Man was the Intercontinental Champion. And the Hart Foundation held the tag team titles. And there's those wonderful ice cream bars. I told you that story last time. This was acquired at a card here in Hagerstown. This was July 7th, 1987. Literally. So this was 5 days after the NWA card that we looked at the program from the Capitol Center, and it was less than 3 weeks before my son was born. The main event here, you saw Dino Bravo pin main event, Brutus Beefcake pin Dino Bravo, the Can-Am Connection pinned the Islanders, the Junkyard Dog pinned Nikolai Volkov, Jose Estrada drew with Sam Houston, David Sammartino was upset by Iron Mike Sharp, and late replacement Pedro Morales pinned Frenchie Martin. I have to remember, I don't remember a damn thing about this. Clearly a memorable card. I don't remember any of this. Either I am getting old, or it was just not that memorable. And this one, to wrap us up, is arguably the most basic and, dare I say it, cheesy program that I own. This was from an AWA card at Berkeley Springs High School in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. I went to this one with my buddy Greg, and sponsored by Country Cupboard. This was at a time that the AWA was on its dying legs, but they were on ESPN still, and they would advertise on there to contact them for your local fundraiser or whatever, and I guess someone did, because this is the only time that we ever saw AWA wrestling, and this was the program. This was apparently a fundraiser for Project Target. Project Target is a statewide program designed to address chemical abuse problems and enhance the wealth of West Virginia, or not wealth, health, sorry, of West Virginia school students. Okay, well, I hope that worked out for him. And this is the kind of cheesiness we got. This was the main, but for going to this town in West Virginia, this is a really good card. Curt Hennig beats Wahoo McDaniel. Greg Gagne over Tijo Khan. The Rock and Roll Express over Bad Company. Although I remember that match very vividly. That was the night that beat myself and my buddy Greg, being heel fans, the bad guys. We were sitting in the second row and booed the Rock and Roll Express very badly, and Ricky Morton spit all over me, which then I'm sure I probably mouthed off back. Baron von Raschke pins Soldat Ustinov and Medusa Michelli over Heidi Lee Morgan for what they call a spot show in a town that was nowhere near the AWA's territory. This is a really good card. I do remember this one a lot more than I remember that WWF card. I remember this very vividly. And Curt Hennig and Wahoo was a very good match. And Bad Company was an underrated tag team in the Rock and Roll Express, despite the fact that Ricky Morton has spitting problems. There's a photo copy of Curt Hennig, a photo copy of Wahoo McDaniel, Greg Gagne, the Rock and Roll Express, Baron von Raschke. So, in all honesty, this is more worth a chuckle for just how cheesy programs could be when you ran them off yourself. I'm thinking this is, it doesn't have the year, but I'm thinking this is like 89 or 88 or 89, maybe 90. But pretty, for a company that was quote unquote becoming the minor league of professional wrestling, in a paraphrase, this is pretty minor league, but nonetheless an excellent card for a show that seemingly nobody ever knows about. So that wraps it up. The 1950 Rose Bowl and 2 more wrestling programs. So we'll be back next time, and we'll see what we pull out of the rack for the next video. Thanks.